Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. It's Carolyn. So if you want to learn tarot in a fun way, this is definitely going to be the video for you. So those of you who have seen my previous video where I took the Disney couples and related them to the court cards and tarot, I made Ariel and Eric part of the wand suit. And with the new Little Mermaid coming out, I thought now was the perfect time to revisit the cartoon movie and connect it to the wand suit entirely. And so videos like this is one of my favorite ones to make because it helps me see the cards in a new light. And in my playlist that I have above, you'll see that not only do I take this concept with other movies, but I also do it with TV shows and even music. I've done it with Taylor Swift before. And so let me know if there's any other pop culture references you want me to teach you the tarot cards with. I've also done the same video with the wand suit before with Halloween Town. So that video will also be linked up in the cards above. For those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. Please subscribe. I would love to have you a part of this family. So every suit in tarot starts with the ace. And so the ace of wands is kind of like a spark. It represents a new beginning full of potential that may or might not have been planned, because the ace of wands is energy, and it's this beginning process that takes place whether the person enacting on this path has deliberately intended for this beginning or not. And so we see this with Ariel because it represents her curiosity. And we see this a lot throughout the movie, but more in particular at the beginning of the movie.
Get out of here. You're not getting cold fins now, are you?
She has this innate curiosity that oftentimes gets her into trouble because it gets her distracted. But it's only because of her curiosity that this entire journey is possible, because her curiosity is what leads her to not only want to get to understand the humans more and to become part of their world, but this is the curiosity that takes her to Eric's boat, that makes her save him. If she never was curious about humans, she wouldn't have been there, and none of this would have ever unfolded. And so while the curiosity, just like the Ace of Wands, might not necessarily be something she planned for, it is something that is there, and that births the potential for this new beginning with the wand suit. So then we have the Two of Wands, and the Two of Wands, like a lot of twos, represents making a decision. But because the wands represent action, the Two of Wands represents a decision that has to be made quickly because of the other circumstances around it. So it's a decision followed by action. It's not just making a decision and getting to it later. This is something in the moment. You're making this decision as things are happening. And we see this with Ariel when she makes a decision to save Eric. She doesn't think about the negative repercussions of it. She weighs pros and the cons, and in that moment she feels like the right thing to do is to save him. Now, you could argue with the Two of Wands that it's not always the most rational decision, or that's not always the best decision, but it is a decision that will bring an action because you were acting upon it, and therefore whether it's good, whether it's bad, it's going to bring you results. So when the Two of Wands appears in your readings, it not only means that you're going to be making a decision quickly, but you'll be able to see the outcome of it fairly quickly. It means that things are picking up pace and you're going to get answers soon based on your own doing. So then we have the Three of Wands, and the Three of Wands represents expansion, growth, kind of developing the journey further. And so it represents progress of the person, but also progress of the journey. And so in the movie, I think what best represents this is Ariel's feelings developing for Eric, where she actually likes him on a romantic level.
So beautiful.
And not just an innate curiosity towards human, because that's really what shifts her journey from just wanting to learn more about the humans to wanting to be with one. And so because of that shift, it makes her more desperate to connect with Eric and actually go and make the deal with Ursula, as we see later on in the film. If she didn't have feelings for Eric, she wouldn't have chased that curiosity so much.
Wait.
So then we have the Four of Wands, and the Four of Wands represents a time of joy and celebration, happiness. And so this is a time when a lot of people are connecting and people are just enjoying themselves because there's good things going on around for all. And so in the movie, we best see this when everyone can tell that something has shifted with Ariel. She seems a lot happier, a lot brighter, and that's when they all start to put the pieces together that she's in love.
She's got it bad.
What? What has she got?
Isn't it obvious, Daddy? Ariel's in love.
Ariel? In love?
They don't know who she's in love with, but it's a happy time because everyone thinks that she's happy. And Trident in particular is happy for Ariel because he thinks that this is going to be a positive thing for her.
Hey, let's see now. Ooh, who could the lucky merman be?
And so when the Four of Wands appears in your readings, it's representing a time of happiness, a time when things are going to be going good and everyone's going to be celebrating. But as we all know, when things are up, they have to come down. And this is the same when you're going through a good time, there's always a bad time that can follow that. And we see that from the Four of Wands as it shifts into the Five of Wands.
In love? I tried to stop us.
Humans? What about humans?
So you go from this time of celebration, joy, into this time of conflict and tension. And this is best described when Trident goes and destroys everything that Ariel has collected from the humans after he finds out that not only has she been interacting with humans, but she's also in love with one. And so Trident, we see, really goes off the rails. He's very intense, very angry in this moment, and really embodying the anger and frustration that the Five of Wands carries. And so when the Five of Wands appears in your reading, it means that there's going to be intense conflict with the people in your life because of a situation where you are not agreeing. And so we see this difference of opinion between Ariel and her dad that has come to its breaking point. So then we have the Six of Wands, and the Six of Wands represents a moment of victory, a moment of success. And so for Ariel, this is when she meets Ursula, she's turned into a human, and then she meets Eric, because she's one step closer to becoming a human, being with the person that she's in love with. And so for her, that is a success. That is a small step towards victory. And especially because when she makes the deal with Ursula, she believes it's going to be easy to get Eric to kiss her, and therefore for her to stay human. And so at this point, it is a victory towards her because she believes that it's all going to work out and that she's going to remain human. So then we have the Seven of Wands, and the Seven of Wands represents a person who is having to defend themselves, having to protect themselves because people are not listening or because people are attacking them. And so when you are dealing with the Wands energy, it means that others are taking action on you that is making you uncomfortable, that's making you not feel secure, not feel protected. And so in this moment, the person that everyone is going against feels like they have to stand up, defend themselves. Sometimes they do it in the right way, sometimes they don't. But it's this energy of feeling like it's you against everyone else. And this can be something that's conscious or subconscious, but when it appears in your reading, it's representing that you or someone that you're reading for is a little bit defensive, and you need to figure out by pulling more cards if it's warranted or not. And so in the movie, we see that Ariel needs to protect herself and has to try and get the kiss despite Ursula's attempt to stop it. Because Ariel and Ursula are working with two different motivations. Ursula wants to keep Ariel trapped in the contract because then she is going to be able to use it to blackmail Trident. Ariel signed the contract a little naively, so this entire time she's trying to get Eric to kiss her so that she can stay human. She is defending herself against Ursula without knowing that's what she has to do. And so when this card appears in your readings, it can go one or two ways, and that's where you need other cards to help you clarify it for you. If you are not currently being defensive, you need to find out if this card is telling you to be defensive because someone is working against you, or is it telling you that subconsciously you've been too defensive and you need to back off. So then we have the Eight of Wands, and the Eight of Wands represents an energy that is all about swift movement. So this is, again, like the Two of Wands, there's action behind this, but this is very deliberate and fast moving action. So it's not as hasty or impulsive as the Two of Wands was. This Eight of Wands energy has been more planned. It's a little bit more methodical, but it's happening. And so the Eight of Wands represents this go time like energy. And so we see this with Ariel. The moment that she realizes Vanessa is Ursula,
The prince is marrying the sea witch in disguise!
it's go time to stop the wedding, because the Eight of Wands is that fast moving energy of like, okay, we know what we got to do now, and now it's time to do it. Then we have the Nine of Wands, and the Nine of Wands can be a little bit of a frustrating card because it represents another setback, another challenge that did not go to plan. And it's one of those things where it's an accumulation of them, where it's like things keep happening that are holding you back, and you think that you're in the clear, and then no, you're not. And so it represents this energy of like another hit, another thing. It's not one thing that's the first experience ever, because it's at the end of the suit. It's like, okay, we dealt with the conflict with the Five of Wands, we dealt with the challenges with the Seven of Wands. Now with the swift moving energy, we thought things were going good, and now we have another problem. And we see this with Ariel as she goes to stop the wedding. Everything's on track. She thinks that she is able to get there in time. She's going to be human, and she goes to kiss Eric, and that's literally when the sun sets.
No! You're too late!
She misses the deadline by mere seconds, and that makes it where not only is she not able to become human, but now she belongs to Ursula because of the contract that she signed. And so when the Nine of Wands appears in your reading, it represents that there's going to be a setback that is not expected and happens at the last minute and happens in a way that you cannot plan for, and you're just going to have to deal with it because it's not exactly something that you can prevent, it's something that you can recover from. And so we see that with Ariel and Eric, and that's where we have the Ten of Wands. So the Ten of Wands represents someone or something coming into your life and helping take the pressure off of you and helping you as you overcome this. So the wand suit is full of a lot of action, and it can also represent a lot of problems. And so the Ten of Wands, you have support, you have help to overcome these challenges and put them behind you. And we see in the card, the person in the Ten of Wands is depicted to be carrying a lot on their back. And so when this card appears, it's saying, hey, you need someone to help you take this pressure off of you so that you can drop what you're carrying. And so this can happen either by an actual person or from you deciding what you can let go of, what you no longer need to carry to take that weight off of you. And so we see this in the movie when Ariel is dealing with Ursula. Her dad is not able to help her. Eric comes to Ariel's aid. And so just like she helped him and she saved his life, he helps her, and together they're able to defeat Ursula. And so because Ariel is carrying a lot of the burdens herself, Eric coming in and helping her is allowing them to embody this Ten of Wands energy that ultimately is successful in making it where Ariel doesn't have her burdens, because now that Ursula is dead, that contract is gone. And now she's free from it. And also her dad and everyone that Ursula has transformed into those kelp-like things are now free. And because of their teamwork, later on Trident comes around, and because he's free, allows Ariel to become a human, and he transforms her to have legs again. And so the Ten of Wands represents this ability to let go of your burdens and not have them weighing on you anymore from support of the people and events in your life. So now we have the court cards, and if you saw my Disney couples video, you would have seen that Ariel is the Page of Wands and Eric is the Knight of Wands. And so I'm not going to touch on it too much. I'll have the video linked to the cards above if you want to see me go a little bit more in depth. But the reason that Ariel is the Page of Wands is because she has this innate curiosity in her, but she's eager to learn. She's eager to gain this knowledge, but she also has this innate push towards action and to doing things for herself, because the pages are a little bit more immature, they're a little bit more reckless, but they are the sponge in a sense. So they do things because they want to learn, because they want to grow who they are. It's not in a way where they're thinking they're above anyone. A lot of the stuff they do is because they're naive and because they simply don't know any better. And we see that a lot with Ariel. She is someone where she is naive, she's a little bit too trusting, and so all the action that she takes is a little bit blanketed with her optimism. But regardless, she still pushes through. And the thing about the Page of Wands is that they're someone where once they have this spark in front of them, they want to chase it, they want to follow it through, and they have so much potential in front of them to grow. Because the way the court cards work is it goes from the Page to the King. And so Ariel is the Page of Wands, but through her lesson, she's able to grow and mature, and eventually she'll reach that King of Wands energy. And then Eric is the Knight of Wands, because the Knight of Wands represents an energy where someone can be very impulsive, they can be a little bit reckless, they're more mature than a page, but still less mature than a queen. And so they're this person where they're focused on their goals, and they're going to be reckless when it comes to whatever they want. And we see this with Eric, especially in the beginning of the movie, because he's set on the life that he wants, and he doesn't want to just settle down with anyone, even though he is a prince and that's what he should do. He still values his freedom, and he likes to be on the ship and out in the ocean.
Oh, Eric, it isn't me alone. The entire kingdom wants to see you happily settled down with the right girl.
Oh, she's out there somewhere. I just haven't found her yet.
And so there's a little bit of a disconnect between what role he was born into and what he actually wants to do. And then we also see that throughout the movie, he's stuck on the girl that saved him, and he's convinced that's who he's gonna marry.
I'm gonna find that girl, and I'm gonna marry her.
Despite him maybe developing feelings for Ariel or anything he feels towards her, he doesn't let that cloud his judgment.
You're the one I've been looking for. What's your name? What is it? You can't speak? Oh, then you couldn't be who I thought.
And in turn, it makes him a little bit reckless and impulsive, because the moment he thinks he found her, he goes to marry her, and he makes this very impulsive, life-altering decision without evaluating if things have changed for him. And so there's a little bit of stubbornness that the Knight of Wands carries with them. So then for the Queen of Wands, we have Ursula. Now, the Queen of Wands represents someone who is very confident in who they are. They're very self-assured. They believe in themselves, and they're very strong-willed when it comes to their goals. They're very methodical because they have this confidence in themselves and their skills. They live up to the expectations they set of themselves. And so they have very high standards. And we see this with Ursula.
Celebration indeed. Oh, bah! In my day, we had fantastical feasts when I lived in the palace.
She definitely believes that she's better than Trident. She wants to not only have power because she thinks she's worthy of that, but she also thinks that she's just better than Trident. And so through that, we see her ambition, and she's someone where she's very methodical in how she's going to achieve that power, how she's going to attain it.
I can't stand it. It's too easy. The child is in love with a human, and not just any human. A prince. King Triton's headstrong, lovesick girl would make a charming addition to my little garden.
And so that's something that the Queen of Wands is very good at, is they believe in themselves, they're very ambitious, and they set their sights on what they're going to get with a plan that makes sense. And Ursula, everything she does is methodical. We see throughout the movie, she's planned it. She waits for the right timing. She doesn't force things to the point of being reckless. Even when she pretends to be Vanessa, she waits until the moment is right for her to do that.
Well, it's time Ursula took matters into her own tentacles. Storm will be mine, and then I'll make him writhe. I'll see him wriggle like a worm on a hook.
And it would have worked if Scuttle had never seen her. She still has that innate confidence in her where she's not afraid that he's not going to fall in love with her. She doesn't second guess her plan, and she makes it where he wants to marry her right then and there.
Things are working out according to my ultimate design. Soon I'll have that little mermaid, and the ocean will be mine.
And so the Queen of Wands, when it appears in your reading, is either encouraging you or confirming for you that you need to be confident, you need to love yourself and know your own value. Don't underestimate yourself and be ambitious because you have the mindset and the capacity to achieve it. And so we see that with Ursula. Even though at the end she's defeated, it's not through a lack of effort. Her ambition is shown time and time again throughout the movie. And then we have the King of Wands. Now this is King Trident. And the reason for this is because the King of Wands is a very powerful person. He's someone who is a king, so he's in charge of everything. He has a lot of responsibilities and he doesn't take that lightly. And we see that with Trident. Because he's afraid for the merfolk, he doesn't want them interacting with humans. He's trying to protect them. And the King of Wands, just like Trident, can sometimes try and protect people in a way that's stubborn and overbearing. And so the right intention is there. It's coming from a good place, but their process can be a little bit intense because the King of Wands is intense by nature. They represent the highest power of action. And so their own actions that they take can sometimes be dramatic. And we also see this sense of stubbornness with Trident where it's hard for him to see other people's perspective and understand it. We see how quick he is to get angry at people who are not listening to him or when they're trying to share their own perspective.
You went up to the surface again, didn't you?
Nothing happened.
Ariel, how many times must we go through this? You could have been seen by one of those barbarians, by one of those humans.
Daddy, they're not barbarians.
They're dangerous.
I'm not a child.
Don't you take that tone of voice with me, young lady.
But if you would just listen.
Not another word! And I am never to hear of you going to the surface again. Is that clear?
We see him time and time again throughout the movie want it his way or no way because he thinks his best is the only way. And so there's this level of confidence, just like the Queen of Wands, that the King of Wands has, but sometimes it can cross the line from confidence into stubbornness and arrogance, where they are so self-assured and so confident in what they are doing that they get lost in their own ideas and can sometimes become stagnant as everything else progresses around them. And so that's something to be aware of. The King of Wands, when it appears in your reading, can be representing this need to take control of a situation and steer it in the right direction. But if it comes out reversed, it can be a warning that you're being a little bit too stubborn and a compromise is needed to be made. Because ultimately at the end of the movie, we see that Trident learns this and learns how to pull back as he accepts Arrogant, as he allows Ariel to be transformed into a human. He realizes the way that he has been a little overbearing and pulls back on it because he knows that's what's better for the situation. And so the King of Wands, when it's upright, knows when they have gone too far and they do their best to correct it. And so it's like they're teetering on that line between confidence and arrogance. And so when it's upright, they lean more into that confidence versus when it's reversed, they lean into that arrogance. And so that's the wand suit learned through the Little Mermaid movie. I hope that you found this video helpful. I hope that this helped break down some of the card meanings where it's a little bit more understandable for you, because I know that's something I struggled with when I first learned the tarot cards meanings, is that there's so many different meanings for them. It's hard to remember them all, but if you can associate them with different things in pop culture that resonate for you, it can almost act as like a cheat sheet in your mind when these cards appear in your readings. And so if you did like this video and you found it helpful, definitely give it a big thumbs up and share with other people who are looking to learn tarot, or just share it with someone who loves The Little Mermaid. I know that was one of my favorite movies growing up. I'm gonna have my other tarot learning videos linked in the cards above for you to watch next. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do so. I would love to have you a part of this family. I post new videos every single week, and I can't wait to see you all in my next one. I hope you have a good one. Until then, bye.